If we look at the ratio of relative changes, also known in economics as elasticity, we can look at the relationship between a change in price and the change in demand of a quantity. So elasticity is the percentage change in the quantity demanded that results from given percentage change in the price. So when we calculate elasticity, we're going to be getting a factor that we'll use to inform us about whether or not our discount is relevant and something we should continue doing, or if our price increase is something that will impact our consumer base. Specifically, elasticity is the ratio of the two related percentage changes. It is the percentage change in quantity, so that's what we looked at in the last problem with the necklaces, the change in how much we sold, divided by the percentage change in price. So we didn't look at that in the last problem, but we will in the next. We can find the change in price and also reflect that as a percentage. This ratio of the percentage change in quantity divided by the percentage change in price is always going to be expressed as an absolute value. So this number is the elasticity, and it's a factor that we use to make decisions in businesses. So let's look at a problem and see how we apply this. So let's go back to our necklace example. We know that this particular necklace sells for $60 and they sell $65 per week. When they have their sale, they reduce the price by 25%, and during that week they sell 110 necklaces. We want to find the elasticity of this particular necklace based on its sales. In the last problem, we were able to look at the relative change in weekly sales. So the relative change in weekly sales is the relative change of the quantity. And we found that to be approximately 69.23%. In order to talk about the elasticity, we need not only the relative change of the product, of the number of products, but also the relative change of the price. Now here, you may have some intuition that this 25% is really important. And it is. It turns out that that is the relative change of the price. But we can calculate that out just to be sure. So if we have a 25% discount, if we were to multiply 60 by 25%, 0.25, that would give me the number 15. And what that represents is the amount of money that I'm going to take off of the price for this sale. So normally, the necklace is going to cost $60. I'm multiplying that by 25% to see how much of a discount I get, which is $15, which means that my new price is going to be 60 minus 15, which gives me $45. So my new price is $45. My original price was $60, and I can use that to calculate the relative change. So 45 minus 60 divided by 60 is going to give me negative 0.25, or a 25% decrease in price. So again, here when we say we reduce the price by a certain percentage, that's the same thing as the relative change. So we're going to take these two numbers, the relative change of the product number and the relative change of the price, and we are going to look at the ratio of these two numbers to tell us the elasticity. To find the elasticity, we need to look at the ratio in a very specific way. It's going to have the change in the number of products on top, or the change in quantity, divided by the relative change in price. So here we have 69.23% divided by 25%. And technically this is a negative 25%, but since we have to take the absolute value at the end, we don't need to include that. Now, because 69.23% was rounded any calculation that I use with this number is going to be approximated. So I'm going to use my approximation sign. When I divide these, I'm going to get When I divide these, I'm going to get 2.7692. Now, that number may not have a lot of meaning for you depending on what your major is, but elasticity is usually compared to the number 1, with numbers higher than 1 being a good idea, and numbers lower than 1 needing to have more consideration. Of course, it depends on the industry and product you're looking at, but here, this may encourage our particular retailer to put this necklace on sale more than one time a year. Let's take a look at one more example where we need to work out all the parts to find the elasticity of a product. So example 4. Suppose the cost of a pound of high-end local ground coffee is normally $19.99. At this price, 275 pounds are sold each month. When the coffee goes on sale for $14.99 during the month of April, 425 pounds are sold. We need to find the relative change in price, the relative change in monthly sales between the typical month and the sale month, and the elasticity of this product. The first two calculations will give us the numbers we need to find the elasticity. So let's start by finding the relative change in price. Again, we need to be careful and make sure we're using the right information. So if we're looking for prices, we're looking for dollar amounts. The two dollar amounts given to us are $19.99 and $14.99. Since it says the coffee is normally $19.99, that particular number is going to be our P naught. The new price is the price that we have when it goes on sale. And so that price is going to be our $14.99. Putting those together in our formula, we get $14.99 P1 minus $19.99 P naught divided by $19.99 or P naught. So here again, we're going to very carefully crunch that number in our calculator. And when we plug that all in, we are going to get approximately, I'm going to round this, negative 0.25. So negative 0.25, if we multiply that by 100, is going to give us a 25% decrease. Now, the next part, now that we have our relative change in price, is to find the relative change in monthly sales. So remember, when we typically sold it for $19.99, we were able to sell 275 pounds of coffee. When we changed the price to $14.99, we were able to sell 425 pounds. Since the typical amount is 275, that's our P naught, which means that our new quantity here, our new P, is going to be 425. That's our P1. So now, to find the relative change in sales, or the relative change in quantity here, we're going to use our formula. We're going to do 425 minus 275, all divided by 275. So again, we're going to crunch that in our calculator. I'm going to round, so I'm going to use the approximation symbol. So I have 0.545, or 54.5% increase. So this is good, right? We're hoping that if we lower the price, that people will buy more. And that's what's happening here. If we decrease the price, the percentage that we sell goes up. So this seems so far like a pretty good business model. But to know for sure how much it impacts people, we're going to go ahead and calculate the elasticity. So again, the elasticity, I'm going to write this as E, is approximately 54.5, the relative change in quantity, divided by negative 25. And again, the negative doesn't really matter because we're going to take the absolute value of our answer, but it is there since it was a decrease. We get negative 2.18. And again, that's approximately. And if we take the absolute value of that, our factor is 2.18. And again, businesses often want elasticity to be greater than 1 because they've found that if elasticity is less than 1, people don't react very much to the sale or to the price impact. So we're looking for something bigger than 1 to get people out to buy the coffee.